Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. We are live from Don Juan Cigar Bar and presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. Thrilled to have you aboard with us. Muse, Paulie are back in studio. Alondra is here on site. We got a ton to do as we enter Kiffin Watch, day 3,746. So a lot to do, obviously. We will give you the latest on all things Lane Kiffin, the whole search as it continues to progress throughout the day today. And Terrio will be here next hour. We'll preview Saints, Falcons, LSU, Western Kentucky. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, Friday we all assumed was going to be a very pivotal day in the Lane Kiffin saga. I guess we can call. I'm not trying to be overly dramatic calling it that, but it's kind of what it's begun and what it's become and what it has been here. The Ole Miss coach has been hotly pursued by both Florida and LSU. This search is nearing its end, and Lane Kiffin is going to have to make a decision here very soon. When last we spoke, we told you that Kiffin and athletic director Keith Carter were set to meet on Friday. Well, after we got off air on Thursday, there was some definition given to that meeting to say that it was scheduled for 8:15 a.m. in Oxford. Now, Ole Miss is off this weekend. The football team does not play, as you probably know. So after they practiced on Thursday, the team was dismissed. Coaches were sent out recruiting, and Lane and Keith Carter were set to meet on Friday morning. And we discussed a day ago the particulars there. Carter wanted some clarity. Kiffin wanted a plan on how Ole Miss was going to remain competitive in the next era of NIL. If you missed any of that conversation, you can go get it on demand. We went into great detail about it. And I think my biggest takeaway throughout this entire saga is Lane Kiffin's a weird dude. I'm not being funny. I'm not saying that tongue in cheek. I mean that seriously. Like, he's a strange cat. He is wired a little differently with the way that he handles and manages things. Over the course, certainly of the last week to 10 days, as this has really accelerated, talking to plenty of people who know him, cover him, friends with him, work with him, it is very clear that he approaches things differently. We all laugh at how he trolls on social media, but I think through a lot of his actions as well, we see this. So Lane Kiffin sends his team away, his coach is out to recruit, and this meeting scheduled for 8:15 a.m. And so then he pivots and he calls a practice Friday morning. So they don't end up having that meeting at 8:15. Instead, he has his team practice on Friday morning. And that meeting was bumped back to noon. So Lane Kiffin, Keith Carter were set to meet at noon. I have not yet gotten word as to what as of this very moment, as to what transpired at that meeting or if that meeting is still happening. So I would assume that at some point over the course of the show, I'll get clarity on, or at least a better sense of what happened in that meeting, provided it did happen. But we've officially entered the phase where things are just silly. Earlier today on Twitter, someone posted a flight tracker that there was a plane from Baton Rouge going to Oxford scheduled to come back to Baton Rouge. A short time after that, I had someone, let's say, associated with that airport message me a screen, like a picture, a photo of the screen of the flight, I want to say tracker, the flight schedule at the airport for the day. And my goodness, so I started to make a call and figure out whose plane that was, what the intent was. Come to find out, it was literally someone flying from Baton Rouge to Oxford. It was an animal transport service. They were going to pick up a black lab, like a hunting dog, basically. And they, just to troll everybody, changed the course to divert to Gainesville before then flying back to Baton Rouge, just to make everybody go bonkers, which, congrats, high-level trolling, fittingly amid the Lane Kiffin saga as well. But I'll tell you this much, that there has been in the last certainly 18 to 20 hours a pivot in the way the Ole Miss side has thought about what's going on here. Because 24 hours ago, Florida people, although delusional they are in this situation, still believe they were going to get Lane Kiffin. LSU people think they're going to get Lane Kiffin. And Ole Miss people thought he was going to stay. Why would he leave? Championship team, all that sort of stuff. Got it. Playoff team, whatever. But last night, on Thursday night, after the show, within about an hour, every Ole Miss contact that I have were calling and texting me, effectively acknowledging that they felt it was over and that Lane Kiffin's coming to Baton Rouge. So some things started to settle in on Thursday night over there that made the Ole Miss folks feel like this had shifted and that Lane Kiffin was coming to Baton Rouge. Now, I'm going to give you the caveat that I always give you with coaching searches. Consider everything, believe nothing, and this is never done until it is done. Like ink dry on the contract, coach at the podium being introduced. I'll remind you that in 2016, we're all sitting there on Thanksgiving night watching LSU play Texas A&M, and on the crawl there at the bottom of ESPN during the game, Tom Herman is going to become the LSU coach. 36 hours later, Ed Ogeron's at the podium being introduced. So it is never over until it is over. And even sometimes you hire the softball coach from Alabama who's at the podium and then decides to go back to Alabama. That's the thing that happens. So I'm not going to sit here and pound the table and tell you this is done. What I will tell you is there is a very strongly growing feeling at Ole Miss that Lane Kiffin is leaving, and there has been a very firmly held feeling among the LSU circles that Lane Kiffin is coming. And if you made me guess right now, I would say that at the latest, a week from Monday, that Lane Kiffin would be the LSU coach. Now, that's subject to change. Things happen, things transpire, but the LSU Board of Supervisors had a meeting today. We know the public agenda that was listed was to handle the Brian Kelly buyout, how they're going to move forward there, but they went into executive session, so that was behind closed doors, not open to the public. I was told that also in that meeting they did discuss terms of the offer that they're giving Lane Kiffin to make sure that everyone is okay with the contract that Verge Osbury would formally present to Lane Kiffin. There's a lot of other things in particulars that I think are being discussed and included in there that we'll talk about at the appropriate time. But I believe LSU has all their ducks in a row. I believe they got their offer for Lane Kiffin. I believe at this point he feels like he will accept that contract and will be the LSU head coach. It's a matter of time, and can you actually get it to the finish line? And that is something that until it's done, it's never actually done. The other thing that I will tell you that I do think is relevant here is I think there is a sentiment, I know, there is a sentiment within Ole Miss circles that they are ready to move on. That whereas, and this makes sense, right? Because anyone involved in this type of situation would eventually reach this point. If you're in a relationship with someone and you love them and they love you back and you have a great time, a great relationship, and then they start to have a wandering eye, you may work very hard to try to get them to re-engage, to love you back. But you're going to get to a point where you say, I'm tired of you cheating on me, leave. Like, this is over. And I feel like Ole Miss collectively, they've gotten to that point. And a very sincere issue for this team is the college football playoff. Let me explain. So a day ago, we talked to you about why Ole Miss would want Lane Kiffin to coach through the Egg Bowl. They realize that if they lose the Egg Bowl and Lane Kiffin is leaving, the College Football Playoff Selection Committee can use Lane Kiffin leaving against them in their evaluation of Ole Miss for the playoff. So if they lose the Egg Bowl and Kiffin leaves, there's a real chance Ole Miss could be out of the playoff altogether. So they have a very strong desire. Obviously, it's a rivalry game and they want to win, but a very strong desire and need to win that game. And so the feeling a day ago was they want Lane Kiffin there to give them the best opportunity to win that game, even if he's going to leave afterwards. I'll tell you, I no longer believe that's the feeling, because I've had multiple conversations here today and last night where there are players on that Ole Miss football team that are very uneasy about what's transpired. I know there is unrest internally within that football team about whether or not they want Lane Kiffin to proceed through the remainder of the season with them as their head coach as he's looking at another job. And if that fracture continues this week, I think the thing that Ole Miss has to consider is, do you want Lane Kiffin to be your coach this week going into the biggest regular season game in the history of your program? And that's not hyperbole, by the way. Do you want Lane Kiffin to be the coach if it's fracturing internally, or are you better moving on now, promoting Joe Judge to the interim head coach, and so then you could go play the Egg Bowl with your interim head coach, and if you win it, you could say to the committee, look, we didn't have Lane Kiffin, and we still beat Mississippi State. We won the game, put us in the playoff. So, and seed us appropriately. So I think that is something they are considering right now is, are they actually better off this week leading up to the Egg Bowl without Lane Kiffin, which was not the case a day ago. So at this point, I'll continue to say, I think Lane Kiffin wants to take the LSU job. I think he also wants to coach his team. But I think there is a growing unrest in Oxford, in Ole Miss circles, with Lane Kiffin, how this is dragged out to the point to where now it is actually detrimental to them for him to continue coaching this week through the Egg Bowl and potentially, I've said this for 2 weeks, they were never going to let him coach the college football playoff. That much was always abundantly clear and made clear to Lane Kiffin as well, by the way. He knows they are not going to let him coach in the college football playoff. Try as he might, they are not going to allow that, nor should they. But it feels like now the bigger question is they may not even want him coaching in the Egg Bowl a week from today. So buckle up. I think something could drop at any point throughout the show today as we continue to move through Kiffin Watch 2025. Okay, I want to talk also about, I know there were Florida rumors about, if Florida's actually involved. I know there was a report that the Florida brass met with Lane's representation yesterday. That is true. Jimmy Sexton represents Lane Kiffin. He also represents, 100 other coaches. So Florida, which has started having conversations with representation for other coaches, certainly, I'm sure they did meet with Jimmy Sexton a day ago. Phone, I'm sure they're talking every day. But it ain't about Lane Kiffin. At this point, I think Florida would be a distant long shot. It would be, if Florida gets back in this to land Lane Kiffin, it'd be the greatest comeback since Lazarus, okay? This is very clear right now, can LSU get this over the finish line with Lane Kiffin, and when? And that's what we're keeping an eye on. All right, it's After Further Review. Friday shows, we're live from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. Big shout out, Sagamore Spirit Rye, an absolutely awesome product. We've been able to tell you about it before. Our friend April Burkholder, former LSU All-American, Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer. She's the brand rep for Sagamore Spirit. I think April will probably be here a little bit later. She had another event at another spot in town earlier today. But y'all come hang out with us here at Don Juan Cigar Bar. Try some Sagamore Spirit Rye. Have yourself a premium cigar. Let's hang out and go through Kiffin Watch together. We will continue here on a Football Friday edition of AFR from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye.
After further review.
Okay, y'all, as we head into the weekend, good opportunity to remind you about River City's 1 Hour Air. Never a matter that it's the weekend, because remember, at River City's 1 Hour Air, if you have trouble with your heating, your AC, they'll always come out nights, holidays, weekends, and they'll never charge you extra to come out nights, holidays, weekends. So it doesn't matter that it's after 3 o'clock on a Friday. If you have an issue with your AC, your heater, tonight, tomorrow, over the weekend, whatever, call River City's 1 Hour Air. You are going to talk to a living, breathing human being. You're not going to a call center in another country. You're not going to talk to a robot, an automated call center. No, you are going to talk to a human being right here. 752-0001, 752-0001. Try it right now. I tell you all the time to schedule your preseason heater safety check. Call right now. I promise you. Call right now in this moment. 752-0001. 752-0001. You will talk to a living, breathing human that will answer the phone right now. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We are live at Don Juan Cigar Bar. We are brought to you today by Sagamore Spirit Rye, and it wouldn't be a Football Friday without our chance to visit with Phil Steele. Of course, at PhilSteele042 is his Twitter. You can always get him at PhilSteele.com, STEELE, PhilSteele.com. Phil, how are you?
I am doing great, Matt. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Tigers should have an opportunity at a win this weekend, so we'll get to that one in a little bit. Let's start, though, in the SEC. It may be a more intriguing game with some stakes. After Oklahoma upset Alabama a week ago, Missouri comes to town with a little bit of a quarterback question, but the Sooners are a 6.5-point home favorite. Maybe a little bit of a letdown spot. What do you think, Phil?
I don't think it'll be a letdown spot because Oklahoma now controls its destiny. It can get to the playoff. I think the fan base will be fired up for this one. And if they win their final two games, let's face it, they're in the playoff. So their defense plays extremely well. Offensively, I think we're going to see material get better and better each week as the season rolls on. And to me, Matt, this is one of those games where, Missouri's taken on one of the softest schedules in the SEC. In fact, their first 5 games were ridiculous. They opened up 5-0, very dominating. Now that they've entered the bigger games, they went 1-3 with their only win in overtime against Auburn. Yes, they beat Mississippi State last week, but they got 2 interception returns for touchdowns, which really turned a close game into a blowout. Oklahoma, meanwhile, has taken on one of the toughest schedules in the SEC and come out of it with just 2 losses this year. I think we have a much better team at home. So I like the fact we're laying 6.5. I do expect Perdue to play for Missouri. Okay. I don't know if it'd be 100%, though. But I'm going to call for Oklahoma to win this one by double digits.
Phil, the ACC is fascinating because they're certainly not guaranteed a playoff spot. Miami probably has the best chance of any ACC squad, so they got to go on the road and beat Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. Phil, I don't know if this one, okay, it was off the board for me. It's a big number now. It's 18.5 right now for Miami. What do we think about the Canes and their opportunity ahead of them this weekend at Virginia Tech?
Yeah, I think if you look at the ACC, definitely the most talented team is Miami of Florida. I mean, they've got a defense that is allowing 2.7 yards per carry, under 100 yards per game. That's how Virginia Tech likes to move the ball, is on the ground. They're not going to be able to run it on Miami. Miami gets pressure on the quarterback with Bain and Messidor. And then offensively, I like the way they run the football with Fletcher and Brown and Carson Beck's having a pretty good year. I think Miami is the much better team. Now, they need style points, so if they got a chance late in the game, they will put one on. But, Virginia Tech wasn't bad last week against Florida State. They were only outgained by 68 yards. They moved the ball on Florida State. I think it's going to be a good game, but like I said, the need factor for Miami, and I think they are the much more talented team, and Virginia Tech's got Virginia on deck. I'm going to go with Miami minus the points on the road, but wouldn't be one of my top plays for the week.
Okay, it's a big number there, as we mentioned, at 18.5. We'll stay in the ACC. I do want to ask you about Louisville and SMU. The Ponies are a 2.5-point home favorite there. Louisville going on the road trying to play a little spoiler?
Yeah, they're going to try. I just haven't been blown away with Louisville. Their one impressive game this year, I should say, was at Miami of Florida. Other than that, not blown away with this squad. I mean, I thought James Madison outplayed them at home. They had double-digit. They trailed Pitt by double digits. They also lost to Virginia. They trailed Virginia Tech by double digits. They lost to Cal, lost to Clemson. And the thing with SMU is, if you look at them last year, they opened up the season slow. They weren't very impressive, but then they got better and better as the season went on. I like the fact that Kevin Jennings had a week off. If he ever regains that mobility 100%, I think that really helps the offense. And I've seen SMU get better and better each week. So I think we have a team on the rise versus one that just hasn't impressed me this year. I like SMU minus the points there.
And Phil Steele's with us. Make sure you go take the Phil Steele Plus store at philsteele.com. Phil, what is probably the game of the day is Southern Cal at Oregon. Game day is there. And Southern Cal quietly has kept their playoff hopes alive, but they'll have to go pull this upset on the road in Eugene. Oregon, 10.5 is the number. We down for a good game over there in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I think it will be a good game. Now, Oregon does have the slightly better run game, although I like the way King Miller's been running the ball lately. They also have the slightly better defense. It's Autzen Stadium. They're at home. But USC really, in my mind, controls their destiny to make the playoff. If they beat Oregon and they beat UCLA, a 10-2 USC will be in the playoff. They don't have to root for anybody else. That's why I abhor the playoff rankings, Matt. Everybody's talking about, well, they're down here. No. I'm telling you right out, if they beat Oregon and beat UCLA, they're in the playoff. No ifs, ands, and buts.
Agreed.
I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I'm going to lean with USC plus the points. I do give them a shot at the upset. So I'm going to take the Trojans plus the points in this one to keep it closer than expected. And, like I mentioned, possibly pull the upset.
That is a 2:30 game on CBS here in Baton Rouge. Jump into the SEC. Another team, Phil, with an outside shot at the playoff is Vandy. I mean, if they beat Kentucky and Tennessee, they'd be 10-2. It's at least a conversation piece. They got to take care of business at home. The Wildcats will all of a sudden look like they have new life, Phil. Kentucky had Vandy. Vandy's an 8.5-point favorite.
Yeah, not as clear-cut as USC as far as making the playoff go, but I do like the chances of a 10-2 SEC team having that opportunity. Vandy's great as a dog. They're off a bye, which is great. They need to win, which is great, and I think they will win. But as you touched on, this Kentucky team is playing a lot better. Cutter Boley, the difference. Last year when Cutter Boley was thrown into it, he faced some of the toughest defenses in the country and was horrible. He started out facing some of the toughest defenses in the country here and struggled. But now the last couple of weeks, the Florida game, the Tennessee Tech game, he's really coming on. He's got a 13-8 ratio, gets better by the week. I like Kentucky's defense. And Vandy's got to be playing a little tight here. They can't afford a loss. Kentucky's freewheeling right now. They got a shot at they're in the underdog role. If you look at Vanderbilt's 3 home wins this year, they beat LSU by 7, they beat Missouri by 7, they beat Auburn by 7. I'm going to call for Vandy by 7, so I'm taking the points in that one.
I love it. Phil Steele's with us. One more, we'll break, and we'll talk about the afternoon and evening slate. Texas probably saw its college football playoff flame extinguished last week. I guess you never know. They do have Arkansas. They got a big game against Texas A&M next week, and upsets could happen. So I guess we'll keep an eye on it. But the Longhorns are an 8.5-point home favorite against Arkansas, who just has had a miserable season. Do we think the Longhorns maybe with a little style point opportunity here?
Well, I think beating Texas A&M is going to be the key to whether or not they can make the playoff. I mean, if you knock off one of the top teams in the country at the end of the season, there's a lot of recency in the polls, and you may see them rise, may even get there. And if you're comparing them and Vanderbilt, all you have to do is watch the first 3 quarters of that game. Texas was the far better team. But in this game, I mean, this was a rivalry of old, dating back to the Southwest Conference. And the thing about Arkansas, they play everybody tough. I mean, they lose to LSU by 1. They lose to A&M by 3. They lose to Tennessee by 3. So, and even the Mississippi game, they were driving for the game-winning touchdown, fumbled. Memphis driving for the game-winning field goal, fumbled. They just play everybody tight. I love their offense. They put up 527 yards against Texas A&M. So I think that you're going to see Arkansas play this like a bowl game. They're not going to one, but they've got a chance at a good finish. And Texas has, off of Georgia with Texas A&M on deck, it's the least important of their final 3 games. They just need to come out of here with a win. I'm going to call for yet another Arkansas close loss and take the points in that one.
He is Phil Steele. Make sure you check out philsteele.com, STEELE, philsteele.com. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll pick up with the rest of the afternoon, the evening slate. We are brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com with locations all over South Louisiana. You're never far from a Shaw Bills location. Y'all, Thanksgiving, we are less than a week away. If you're hitting the road, make sure your family is safe and protected on that drive. If you need new tires, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. Maybe you need your tires rotated. Maybe you need the oil change, brake squeak, and check engine lights on. Shaw Bills can take care of you. Make sure you get to ShawBillsTire.com to shop tires, to schedule service. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, we will continue with Phil Steele when we return from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye.
AFR.
You know, it's a Friday afternoon, which means in actually just, I don't know, maybe an hour or so from right now, the LSU football Tigers will be over at Renaissance Baton Rouge. It's what they do on Fridays of home football games. They don't stay on campus. They pack up the entire football program. They move it on in to Renaissance Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet, near I-10, convenient location in what they call Southtown. So you want to go check out Renaissance Baton Rouge. It's a great place if you're having a staycation or if you have family coming in for the holidays, plenty of guest rooms, and so every amenity that you can imagine. They've got Tallulah, the restaurant there inside of Renaissance Baton Rouge, their terrace, the indoor-outside flow of the bar area, and if you're hosting an event, if they can host the LSU football team, they can host whatever you have. Fundraiser, wedding reception, any type of awards, banquet, or even a board meeting for a dozen people. They'd love to host you there at Renaissance Baton Rouge. Right there on Bluebonnet near I-10. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We continue with Phil Steele. Good to join us here on a Football Friday. We're at Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. Come on by, see us here in Town Center. Phil, I want to ask about a local team. We'll jump back into the ACC in a smidge, but Tulane is on the road at Temple, and not only now, but Tulane actually has despite their two losses, still has a shot to be the G6 representative in the college football playoff. They're a 9.5-point road favorite at Temple. Tricky road spot here, or do we think the wave rolls?
Yeah, I think it is a tricky road spot in the fact that Temple's a pretty good team this year. Evan Simon, a quarterback's got 22 touchdowns, just one interception the entire season. They played Army within a single point. They should have beaten Navy. They had a 518 to 384 yard edge, and Navy, of course, in the mix for the game there. They beat UTSA at home. Probably their worst game is when they played Oklahoma and lost. So I think it's a scrappy Temple team that'll come to play. It's cold weather, Philadelphia. It'll be chilly. And, Tulane, though, is the better team. And I think Tulane comes out of here with a win. I just don't know about landing that many points on the road.
Phil, I want to jump back into the ACC. Georgia Tech's been a fun story all season long. Brent Key's name's being thrown around for a bunch of jobs now. It could be a distraction, I guess. But they got Pitt going there to Atlanta. Georgia Tech, it's a short number there at 2.5. Yellow Jackets still very much in play for the college football playoff, I would assume, but a big spot here for Georgia Tech, certainly in play for the ACC championship. What do we think about Georgia Tech at home against Pitt?
Yeah, and my take is I can't see Brent Key leaving Georgia Tech. That's his dream job. Why would you leave that? I understand money talks, but I think this guy bleeds Georgia Tech colors. But when you take a look at these two teams, Georgia Tech's defense just has not impressed me. On the season, they're allowing foes 45 yards per game above their average. In fact, in the last 4 games, they're giving opponents almost 100 yards per game above their average, 486 yards per game. Meanwhile, Pitt comes into this with much better defense. They can get after you with the pass rush. They're holding opponents to 57 yards below their average. And last week was a meaningless game for Pitt. They were playing Notre Dame. It didn't mean anything. If they beat Georgia Tech, beat Miami, win the ACC title game, they've got a shot at making the playoff. So this is the game that matters. I don't like the fact that Narduzzi was playing Desmond Reed in the third quarter last week and he got injured, but I think Pitt does have a shot at the outright upset here on the road. All
right. Keep an eye on that one there in Atlanta. Jump back into the SEC. A game... it looks good on the marquee, Phil. Not a ton on the line, but the Gators have been scrappy. They're under Billy Gonzalez. They're at home. They're a 4.5-point dog against Tennessee. So Tennessee's got Florida and Vanderbilt now to wrap up the regular season. Josh Heupel's squad on the road against the Gators, a series that Florida has dominated. How do we see it Saturday in Gainesville?
Yeah, it's been a long time since Tennessee's won in the Swamp. I think since the early 2000s was the last time they won there. And I got to think if there's ever a year that you can go end that streak and have people stop talking about it, this would be it.
Yeah.
But Florida's played everybody tough this year. You go back to the Mississippi game last week. I used Florida on the tour. They were getting like 16.5 points, and they were trailing by 3 late in the fourth quarter. Gave up a late touchdown to lose by 10. So they still have that fight for them. Now, the way to beat Tennessee is to exploit the secondary. Tennessee's secondary really weak this year. I don't know if DJ Lagway's got that capability. He may toss an interception or two. He's got a 12-13 ratio on the year. So slightest of leans here. I'm going to go with Tennessee minus the points to end that streak.
I want to jump into the Big 12, Phil, where BYU and Cincinnati are going to play a big one. BYU very much alive for the college football playoff. They're on the road at Cincinnati. It can be a tough place to play, and it's a short number there. The Bearcats are a 2.5-point home dog. We got BYU maybe on upset alert there in Cincinnati on Saturday night.
Yeah, since he played a good game last week in the first half, they were up 14-10. Had they won that game, I think Cincinnati would be favored here. So you're getting some value in the fact that they lost the game to Arizona, and now they're an underdog. But the thing I didn't like last week, Sorsby didn't look 100%. He was taking on the number one pass defense in the country in my rankings, Arizona, and really struggled against it. Only threw for 154 yards. Well, this week he's taken on my number 2 rated pass defense in the country in BYU. So I wonder if Sorsby, not 100%, will struggle again. I think the Bearcats have a shot, but I'm going to lean with BYU in that one.
Couple more for you, and Phil Steele's with us. The tour he referenced, of course, is the Phil Steele Plus Tour, which you go to philsteele.com. It's embedded right there on the homepage. We'll tell you more about it in just a quick second. Make sure you get there. Hey, I will stay in the Big 12. Arizona State, again, an outside shot, Phil, but the ACC and the Big 12 are just fascinating because of how much ambiguity there still is with only a couple of weeks left. But Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, another guy who's been mentioned for a lot of jobs. They're on the road in Boulder against just a 3-7 Colorado squad. Arizona State 7.5 is the number there as a road favorite. We like the Sun Devils to go and keep their maybe slim Big 12 hopes alive.
I think we have a possible upset here, Matt.
Okay.
I think, both teams in their last game played West Virginia. Arizona State played them at home and was outgained by 91 yards. Colorado played them on the road and played them basically even, just came up 7 points short. My AGG, or average game grade, has in those games had Colorado about 8 points better as it was. And the key for Colorado is Juju Lewis. I had him projected as a starter in the magazine at the start of the year. He finally came into play in the fourth quarter against Arizona and led them to a score, and then played really well against West Virginia. They had 350 yards. Gave me a scare. I had West Virginia minus 6.5, and Colorado almost beat me. Now they're at home, off a bye. They've played well at home. They beat Wyoming at home. They beat Iowa State at home. And they gave Georgia Tech a heck of a game in the opener. So I think this is like Colorado's bowl game this week. Deion is 6-1 against the spread as a conference home dog. The home team is 9-1 in the series. And Arizona State just doesn't look that good under Jeff Sims. In fact, the key with him has been interceptions in the past. Maybe they don't have a lot of confidence not letting him throw as much. He only has 1 interception, but the offense isn't moving very much. So I'm going to go with Colorado to pull the upset here.
Outright winner. That's I love, man. Put it out there, man. Let's see how it plays out Saturday night there in Boulder. All right, Phil. Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, final home game of the season, which has been a disappointing season for the LSU Tigers. It'll be the last game in Tiger Stadium that Frank Wilson coaches as the head coach. Last time to see Garrett Nussmeier run out the tunnel, although he will not play in the ball game. Tigers are a 21.5-point home favorite over Western Kentucky. Phil, I just want to see if LSU can score 21.5. Favored by 21.5 feels like a gigantic number for this offense. Tell me what you think about it.
You know, I used them on the tour, Matt. It's one of my selections on the tour this week is LSU minus the points over Western Kentucky. Tell you why. First of all, it's a final home game for LSU, as you mentioned. I think they come out and play like LSU should play in this one. Meanwhile, for Western Kentucky, they've got a massive game on deck. It's Jacksonville State. Winner goes to the CUSA title game. Loser is out. Strength of schedule, massively in LSU's favor. Number 8 schedule versus number 131. And they have a huge defensive edge. LSU against a much tougher schedule, holding opponents to 71 yards per game below their average. Western Kentucky's actually allowing, against a weak schedule, their opponents 62 yards per game above the average. It's night, Death Valley. And here's the kicker. Western Kentucky, their last 7 times they've been a double-digit underdog in 7 years. They just get blown out. Helton always looks ahead. You go back to last year, they lost to Bama 63-0. They lost to Ohio State 63-10. There's a large look-ahead factor here for Western Kentucky. I think LSU's offense gets rolling. I'm calling for over 400 yards this week and a big win for LSU. So let's go with the Tigers.
Let's go. Lay in the big. I tell you, Phil, I'm not that brave to lay the number with this offense, but I hope like hell you're right. Phil Steele's with us. Don't check him out at philsteele.com, STEELE, philsteele.com. And I should take my own advice because if Phil put it on the tour, it's probably got a great chance to win. Let's remind people about it, Phil.
I appreciate that, Matt. On the tour, the selections went 3-1 again last week, so they're now 21-9-1 the last 6 weeks. 6 selections for you this week, all absolutely free. And then those quick hitters, they were 3-2 last week, but 31-14, over 69% over 8 weeks. You get 6 quick hitters, so 12 free plays right now, complete with reasoning. Just go to philsteele.com, click on the Phil Steele Plus Tour, and it's on YouTube right now. And take the tour and get yourself 12 free plays.
Phil, you're the best. We always appreciate the time you squeezing us in on these Football Fridays, man. It's our pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Sounds great, Matt. You have a great weekend as well, my friend.
You do the same. That's Phil Steele. It's After Further Review. We are at Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. I'll take a quick second to remind you about Parish Restoration. Look, we had rain Friday morning in and around the Baton Rouge area. A lot of times when it rains, you'll notice that's unfortunately for people when they realize that you have to get water intrusion, maybe get a leak or something like that. Well, when you start to see the water spots, that means you've probably had a leak for a while. You could already have mold in your walls, your insulation in your attic. Listen, the easiest way to remediate that mold is with Parish Restoration. They'll come in, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Super simple. It's more cost-effective. It's more effective. It's more efficient. It's Parish Restoration. Not only mold, but other harmful pathogens. Maybe you get sickness going throughout your workplace, your home that comes spray. They'll kill everything down to the spores. Odor as well, smoke, sweat, pet odor. They knock that out. It's Parish Restoration. ParishRestoration.com. ParishRestoration.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. We are live at Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Come on by, sample some craft cocktails, have a fine premium cigar. Enjoy this Football Friday with us here at Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. Okay, I'm going to knock out a quick break. I will come back. We'll have our tailgate segment, and Terry will be here to kick off hour number 2. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. Love telling you about Jareth Knockan and the great team over at Glow Resources, because what they specialize in is making your business more efficient. So this is not a temp staffing agency. These are permanent employee solutions. So if you're looking to hire the right people for that job, it's been hard to find the right person. You have a lot of turnover. The people you do find aren't reliable. They aren't efficient. Stop guessing. You could do something right the first time, and it will save your company money in the long run and make you more profitable, make you more efficient. Glow Resources can help find that person, and they can help with businesses anywhere in the country or the world. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. Start with that exploratory phone call. Have that meeting at their awesome office there on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge near Pennington. But check them out at GLO, glowresources.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, we continue here from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Sagamore Spirit Rye. You'll come on by and hang out. Our friend April Burkholder's here with Sagamore Spirit Rye, former LSU gymnast, Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer. She's a brand rep for Sagamore. Come sample some Sagamore Spirit Rye, get you a Sagamore Spirit Rye old-fashioned. Hang out with us, have a fine premium cigar here at Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're thrilled to have you hanging out on this Friday edition. Okay, we're going to get to Coben with our tailgate segment here in just a quick second. We do have an update. The meeting with Lane Kiffin and Keith Carter has concluded, the Ole Miss athletic director. And Carter has put out a statement. I'll read it for you. Paulie, if you can pull it up back in studio, I'd appreciate it for those watching on YouTube and WBTR. I'll read the statement. Coach Kiffin and I have had many pointed and positive conversations regarding his future at Ole Miss, including meeting today with Chancellor Boyce. While we discuss next steps, we know we cannot lose sight of what is most important, our 6th-ranked team that is poised to finish the regular season in historic fashion. Despite the outside noise, Coach Kiffin is focused on preparing our team for the Egg Bowl, and together we want to ensure the players and coaches can concentrate fully on next Friday's game. This team is on the cusp of an unprecedented season, and it's imperative they feel the support of the Ole Miss family in the week ahead. An announcement on Coach Kiffin's future is expected Saturday following the game. I want to remind you, if you're interested, go back and listen to yesterday's show, Locked on LSU, or anything I've said along. There were 2 paths that were going to happen coming out of this meeting. I told you this point blank. Muse, you can pull the audio from yesterday. Maybe I'll play it next hour. I think Cassie put it on a reel. There's a reel out there, YouTube short, TikTok, whatever. You'll see it. There were 2 paths. One, they come out of this meeting, Lane Kiffin affirms his commitment to Ole Miss. He signs a contract extension. They announce it before the Egg Bowl. 2, he's leaving. They know it. They want him to coach the Egg Bowl. And so they make the announcement that he's leaving the Saturday after the Egg Bowl. Well, here you have Keith Carter saying they'll make the announcement the Saturday following the game. That announcement is going to be that he's leaving Ole Miss if it gets to the Egg Bowl. It sounds like they want that to happen, want him to coach there. But I'm going to tell you something I'll reiterate again. There are people very close to that program who do not want Lane Kiffin coaching that team a week from today. They know they are reading into this as he is leaving, that he is not affirming his commitment to this program. He will not coach the team in the college football playoff, given the fact that he's leaving. And I have also been told there are players within the Ole Miss program that do not want him to continue coaching this football team, given this lack of commitment and everything that's happened. Keith Carter has made this decision to string this thing along, to try to give them the best opportunity to win the game on Saturday. And I'm here to tell you, this keeping Lane Kiffin in place only creates a greater focus and distraction for this team, for the program, leading into the biggest game in the history of their regular season. This isn't me reading into this now. Just go back and listen to the thing I said yesterday on the show. The 2 things were going to come out of this meeting, and the one that came out of it is clearly Lane Kiffin's leaving Ole Miss. Now, again, until ink dry, press conference, all that sort of introductory press conference, it ain't over till it's over. But he is telling you here, this is over. I mean, I told you this yesterday, that they were going to make an announcement the Saturday after the game if he's leaving. And that's what Keith Carter is, Keith Carter's telling you here, that they'll make the announcement Saturday after the Egg Bowl. Man, if this distraction boils over and they lose the Egg Bowl with Lane Kiffin on the sideline, that's probably going to be Keith Carter's job too. Oh, man. Interesting time in Oxford. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Time for the tailgate segment. Hit 'em, Muse.
At LSU, we play hard, but we tailgate harder. Light your burner, fire up the grill. It's time for our Football Friday tailgate recipe of the week with Chris's Specialty Foods. 4 locations, or go to chrisspecialtyfoods.com.
All right, Coben's here. What up, bro? How are you?
What's up, Matt? Glad to be back, brother.
Yeah, man. Good to see you. Okay, so Tigers are at home against the Hilltoppers. I don't think you need a hill. So normally we eat the competition, but we're a week out from Thanksgiving. So what are we doing?
So it's been crazy at the stores this week with Thanksgiving. We've seen a lot of people from the show calling in.
Love it.
Got their orders in, so it was awesome to see. And it's not too late. We have pushed orders back till 6 o'clock tonight. So we close at 6. Guys, it's not too late. If you want to call in last second, sides, etouffees, turkey.
This is for Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not too late. Birds, sides, everything. So you can call any 4 locations till 6 o'clock. We're still taking orders.
And that cuts off
Today at
tonight.
6, yep.
Okay, so tonight at 6, no more orders for Thanksgiving. So if you want your Thanksgiving order with Chris's, get it in by tonight at 6. You have 2 hours.
Yep, and if you get to Thanksgiving and you need something, we will still have stuff available to come in and buy. Not to place an order, but we'll still have extra left over if you need to come in.
Got it.
So today I brought in 2 gift baskets. It is getting to the holiday season, guys. So we have chicken gift boxes, steak gift boxes. We have custom gift boxes you can do if you wanted to do alcohol or jellies or crackers or whiskey. We have all kind of different things. So today I brought a little steak gift box. I brought a double pack of ribeyes, our stuffed potatoes, a 2-pack of stuffed potato skins, and a cream spinach. These are great to give out as to customers, families.
Yeah.
We put them in boxes.
Gifts, yeah.
We wrap a bow on it, so people love it. You can.
Do you ship?
Yes. Yeah. Anywhere FedEx goes, we go.
Cool.
So it makes a great little gift to give out.
That's awesome. So if you want corporate gifts, Chris's can help you out with that. Family gifts, anything like that. Maybe you lose a bet. Something like that. I would say, man, the ribeye gift basket. So 2 ribeyes, 2 stuffed potatoes, seasoning. What you got?
Cream spinach, and our
pecan,
custom
pralines.
Yeah.
Ooh, and
Yeah.
then you get this is all the seasoning and the jellies and everything there as well.
Yep. So this would be, I didn't bring any alcohol, but this would be an alcohol basket. You can get pepper jellies.
Got it.
Wine openers, seasonings, different kinds of things like that.
They do have alcohol at the Chris's location as well. Your wines, your whiskeys, your bourbons. See if we can get Sagamore Spirit in there as well.
Yes,
Sagamore
absolutely.
Spirit, right. All right, we got about 30 seconds. By the way, ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com, ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com. Tigers and Hilltoppers tomorrow. We can score 25?
Yes, we will score 25. I'm going to go 31-14 LSU.
My score's 30-17, so we're right on it.
Yes,
We'll
love
see.
it. Love
Tobin,
it.
appreciate it, man. Happy Thanksgiving, dude. Thanks for doing this all season long, man. We appreciate you so much.
Thank y'all for having me, man.
Of course, man. All right, hour 2 coming up next.
AFR.
As we put a button here on hour number 1 from Don Juan Cigar Bar, mind you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com for Arco Power Systems. This is industrial Generac generator power. These are generators for your business, not for your home. This is generators for your business. Arco Power Systems, they're the best. Man, it's so impressive, the size, scope, scale of that company as well. They're on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, but they have grown to be this massive company that has offices up in Little Rock, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Austin, all over Louisiana. When the power goes out, what does that mean for your business? Think about that. Power goes out, what does that mean for your business? You have to have a standby generator, standby power option. Arco has turnkey systems where they can sell, service, install, rent you that standby generator for your industrial facility. It's Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com.